properly part of the game.
Well, Veil doesn't really help up at all with your ultimate, though. Whereas Octarine it does.
I think they know that Vega want to fight them. And then in the team fight, when you have Veil, depending on how long you live, like if you have Ghost and Yules and Veil together, I mean, that's a little bit later in progression, obviously. But you can deal so much more damage in that time. And plus, you have a Lion on the team. And there was a lot of fights where PPD's just able to blow somebody up straight away because they had Veil. Like when they were at Tier 2 mid, there was a really quick kill because they were able to actually get that increased magical damage. And it pretty much makes Lion's Finger do like the sheet damage, you know what I mean? Like at level 1, it's like 600 or whatever. He pretty much hit for that much. So I think it was all right. And I also think it's one of those things too where we talked about the double null build-up and how potent it can be in the mid lane, just allowing you to try to out CS. And keep in mind, Sumail was leading no one by a large margin of net worth for the first, like, what, 15 minutes of the game? And that's when he started to pull ahead.
How important do you think Dire side is for this matchup? You were saying that, you know, the Roshan was taken by Vega for all the Roche in the previous game. They chose this side again. Evil Geniuses is happy being first pick Radiant. Vega is happy being second pick Dire.
I'm really surprised by Evil Geniuses' choice here. I would favor both Dire and second pick in this scenario, I think, because I don't really feel like necessarily like EG have any hero. Obviously, they seem to value Doom a lot, and you know, we've seen them play Doom a lot, and they have had success with it. But I don't feel like Doom is that much better than any other hero. I feel like they could just as well take the second pick.
Second pick Doom. They can get second Doom because Vega won't even do it.
Yeah, they don't really touch it that much, and even if they do, they could still get the Darkseer plus maybe, you know, one of their other heroes, the Disruptor or some Axe or something like that. Axe is not even picked or banned here yet, so I feel like they could have gotten something good out of second pick. They're still gonna have the last pick, and then they can get the Dire.
Yeah, respect ban for no one's puck, and Axe indeed the one to make it through compared to the last game. Otherwise, we have almost the exact same start openings from the teams. Evil Geniuses' previous game went for Lifestealer at this stage of the game. Do you think they'll go back for it? As in, it didn't really work out that well previous game, of course.
I don't know. I mean, it's not bad on paper against their heroes. It's just the Void that makes it weak, in my opinion.
I like, honestly, if it was like now and say, like these are the last two picks, I would have liked kind of an Ursa. I think Ursa is really good with the Ags at dealing with both of these heroes, especially when you get chronoed and all. But that's not to say we don't know the rest of the draft. That's why Ursa wouldn't necessarily be good early on, because then it can be kited easier with other heroes. But yeah, Darkseer, Podcast talked about it last game. I think Darkseer is just, you just have to get that hero. You just have to get that hero for Boba. It has to be space creating on that hero, and he didn't space create last game for Brood. Whereas this time he can space create early, and then he's going to be much more reliable in the team fights now with his vacuum wall.
I want to see PPD this game on preferably the Winter Wyvern or even the Bane this game. I think that has worked out well in the past, especially the Winter Wyvern up against Faceless Void and Enchantress. I think it could be a very good addition. Also,
you don't favor stuff like Venge in this?
I was thinking about the Venge, but then I was also thinking about potentially what he said with, I also would like to see the Ursa. So there's the Winter Wyvern Ursa, could be very nice for Evil Geniuses. Otherwise, I was actually thinking if they would pick up Doom and Venge together, because I really like that opening as well. You get the aura from the Venge, you get the Doom with eventually eating the creep. You just have a lot of, you know, you get a lot of physical damage, so you can push towers fast, and also the swap against the Void. So yeah, I do like the Venge still. But then, what carry would they pair it up with?
Yeah, I still think that EG are the type of team who can run stuff like Clinks. I think it's really good against the heroes that Vega open with.
And would you want to have a Clinks then with the Vengeful?
Yeah, I think
I think Clink's Wyvern is still
better.
No,
I don't think it's weak at all, actually.
I think Clink's Wyvern is way stronger than Clink's Venge.
Well, yeah, that I can't argue with. That's definitely true. But I think that Clink's in a 1v1 against Void, if it ends up being that, like maybe solo decides pressure lane, whatever, or, you know, it's more just that Clink's is a good matchup against the Void in lane to make sure that Mag doesn't get farmed. Because you're not bursting him, you know, you're just slowly getting him lower and lower health, and Time Walk is not very useful in those situations. So you have like this self-sufficient safe laner, you have two heroes that can eat creeps, so Ench is pretty much just useless in like the mid game, right? Because you death pact one, you can devour the other. And then you have like another hero you can potentially surge an Ion Shell to go for ganks. I don't know, I think it's pretty good.
You could see Venge with either Gyro or the Juggernaut. I think potentially one of the two could work as well.
Yeah.
The reason I didn't like the Gyro so much is because I feel like it dies to Enchantress easily, but if they actually do have the Venge to swap them out, and they have the Darkseer and the Doom on the front lines, I think it could definitely work out.
But then it's very hard to catch out the Doom or catch out the Faceless Void. Then you would have to put the only thing that catches the Void at that state is the Doom with that lineup. So then I
Yeah,
don't
you
like the
wouldn't have to be
gyro.
you wouldn't have to be too worried about the void if you actually have the Venge then.
Or I guess I can see with that point, but
What do you feel are good pickups for Vega to go for here as the Drow gets still removed?
I think they might go Disruptor. I think we talked about it a lot versus just the Darkseer, but I think it's one hero that synergizes very well with Faceless Void. They are going to get their hands on the Oracle Bow. Interesting. It's really good against Doom. It's really good against Darkseer in lane. It's probably... Okay, so the way I see it is Oracle is better at stopping the Darkseer from getting farm in lane, but the Disruptor is better at killing him. So it's like picking which one you want. And Oracle is also really strong defensively against the Doom. So you can just like heal people during it, you can make the magic immune, and then they're not going to be taking as much.
And Solo plays this hero a lot. So
Yeah,
he's very, very skilled in this hero. So I think we'll have a big impact. I think maybe... No Ags.
No Aghanims Oracle? Yeah, I would
don't
agree with
think
that.
so.
That item is pretty expensive for an Oracle player.
I mean, I want to believe, and I wish we would see it. And I think if any Oracle player would pick it, it probably would be Solo. But
he usually gets a lot of farm.
he does get a lot of farm.
I mean a lot of kill steals.
Well,
And
as Oracle.
Oracle is
Yeah,
like
for sure.
the kills, and
That's
you
how
can
you-
actually justify it because, you know, if you use it too early, you might heal your target.
Shiva, you don't
gotta
have to
use it
justify your kill steals. We know.
If you Oracle, if you're Oracle, you don't. Yeah, Oracle is allowed to kill steal. I'm curious to see
Are
what
you an
what his
Oracle
build
player,
is.
Shiver?
No, but I'm an Oracle watcher. I like that, and I have been forced to play a mid Oracle at some point, which was a lot of fun. But I mean, not an Oracle player as such, no. But it's a fun hero to watch for
And
sure.
Evil Geniuses, they're gonna pick up the better version of Oracle, in my opinion. Dazzle.
Okay.
They're
Fair
different.
enough, fair enough.
They're very different though. I mean, in the fight they kind of offer the same thing, but in lane and how they play in the first like 10-15 minutes, I think is quite different.
I mean,
Yeah,
we're-
it's different, but Evil Geniuses, they have a lot of heroes that can actually push the lanes now, both the Darkseer and the Dazzle. I like that. I feel like Vega might be stuck in the lanes, facing a lot of
at your
creeps.
service.
The Dazzle's very good against Chronosphere, as in trying to keep him safe. Positioning is going to be absolute key, though.
It makes it really hard in the void though, and I think that's one thing I do like about the Dazzle. Is when you play Venge, for example, you're kind of putting yourself in a position where you're always sacrificing yourself to save somebody.
Yeah.
Or at least more often than not. With Dazzle, you don't necessarily have to do that. You can just throw out a Grave, you know, say it's on the Doom, for example, he gets his ulti off after the Chronosphere was off, and then it doesn't really matter if he goes down. So the Dazzle kind of just buys time for these heroes to get their spells off, and that's really, like, that's what Darkseer and Doom pretty much need to do.
Yeah.
Wind Ranger is a little bit different. Obviously, you don't want her to die even after the Grave, but I think for the other two, there's great synergy. You're going to be very tanky as well inside of team fights with Weave, good sustain, just an all-around nice pick.
Yeah, I wanted to expand on that Dazzle thing with the Wind Ranger, but if Wind Ranger is like at like 100 HP, then it's going to be very hard for them to turn it around, whereas the Venge swap, at least you're going to have a full HP Venge, or Wind Ranger, you know, swap them back out, get a Shackle, and then maybe you can save like the Venge there, but I understand where you're going with it. I think Dazzle is going to be really good. As Spikecat said, now they have so many lane pushers with the Darkseer, with the Dazzle, with the Wind Ranger, that they're not going to be pressured all the way around the map. They can start pressuring, and that's what we thought would happen last game with the Broodmother. They were going to pressure all the lanes and, you know, push everything out and then just find the pickoffs, but it didn't happen. So
10 seconds.
what is left for EG and Vega here?
I'm glad that EG actually banned that Slaughter right there. I think
Yeah.
that could have
Yeah.
been really scary for them. Playing against the Windrunner Slaughter combo as well, that would have been the Slaughter with the Dazzle in the safe lane. I think that was a good ban. I am curious though, however, I don't really think that they are going to do this, but I think it would be very good, EG, if they went for a core Doom, safe lane Doom with Dazzle, and then they did the Night Stalker for Fear as their last pick. They could have the Darkseer and Night Stalker.
He's
The offlane
very
is
good against, oh, just instant CK, ban the Sven into CK.
This is even better, I think.
Yeah, they have almost nothing really to deal with the CK illusions. It's
Yeah.
just like Queen and that's it.
Is there a last core that they can pick that can fix all of this? The FN hero?
Gyro, maybe?
Gyro's good still.
10 seconds
It
remaining.
suffers from the Doom, though.
And also the Wind Ranger.
Everything suffers from Doom.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just feel like there's no help for the Gyro besides the Oracle, and
Yeah, there's like no other control besides Fear.
if they get
basically.
the Chrono initiation first, I see them kind of maybe winning the team fights pretty handily. But if they don't get those, then it could be a very big problem. I thought about Tiny, but that's way too greedy, I think, for the laning stage. Let's see what other AoE can really help out.
I think Gyro is actually like laning phase wise, mid game. I think it's
10 seconds.
really
remaining.
solid.
Give me Axe Carry. Axe.
Maybe.
Medusa,
Oh.
Medusa it is. can deal with illusions somewhat. And Oracle is gonna be the key factor.
I think it's the Deuce is more about the disengage actually. Like when like for example, if the CK pops Phantasm and you pop your ulti, you can just run away.
Yeah.
You know, and it's much bigger of an investment for the CK than it is for the Deuce to just pop Stone Gaze. So I think it's a really nice pick. I think it actually might work out quite well for them. But then again, EG has another one of those lineups where if they get momentum, it's going to be crazy hard to stop them.
You were all wrong previous game.
I'm sticking with my guns. I'm going to say EG.
Okay. What do you think, Ryan?
Well, I just all don't want to be EG, but I also want to see a game 3 though. So I have to go with my game 3 gut. So EG is going to win this.
Okay, Pycat.
Oh, now I can't.
Yeah, you can. If you,
You
want
can.
to.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Don't worry, I'm on the Vega train
We're
still.
biased.
So,
I mean, if we're, you know, now we're in the same boat. I feel like we were in the first game, so now we gotta stick with it. Go EG.
okay, let's find out if EG can force this to a game 3. We are in the lower bracket finals. It is over to AC and Gods for the second game of the series.
And we're back. Game number 2 of our lower bracket finals here at WePlay Season 3 already underway. Let's go ahead and jump straight into the map. And as we look down here, Gods, it looks like we've already got potential for a little bit of action. Both teams sniffing around each other a little bit here in the dire jungle. Looks like EG will go ahead and pull back a bit. I do want to point out this ward that was placed by Fear. He actually TP'd straight to mid just to make sure he got this ward down for vision.
Yeah, wanting to at least keep tabs of the Enchantress in the jungle. Either seeing that the Enchantress is there or not there. Either way, it's good information to have to help protect your mid lane. And we'll see both teams pick up 1 bounty rune apiece. Kind of standard opening. Very interesting kind of new direction that we're seeing the drafts go. I think after game 1, teams realizing this is going to be a more farm-centric matchup, we're seeing more of the big carries come in. The Deucer gets picked up. The Chaos Knight can push and have some mid-game presence, but very much more late-game centric carries compared to last game.
Well, let's take a look at our matchups in each lane. We'll do this more quickly than we usually do, just because I think we're going to see a lot of potential action on both sides. Mid matchup's going to be Sumail versus no one here in mid. Up atop, it's going to be 2-on-2. It's going to be FN and Sioma the Slayer taking on AUI, helped out by PPD out in the off lane for the Radiant side. And then down at bottom, it's going to be a 1-on-1. It's going to be Bulba playing on our Darkseer, taking on Mag. Now, we saw Mag really flourish as this Faceless Void out in the off lane last time. And it was in a much worse situation than this. Can't imagine he's going to struggle that much here. Should get plenty of farm and a good start.
Fear and Solo is just hilarious to watch. These two are just like trying to, well, it's Fear who's trying to chase down Solo and the Enchantress, and like they find each other at this camp. Solo heads towards the jungle, then fakes back, and it's just this like continuous mind game going on between the Doom and Enchantress. This time around, Solo getting the slight edge early on.
Should point out last game, you know, whenever we were looking at the box scores and really going over things, Fear's lack of development, I think, had a lot to do with the fact that they just seemed to peter out in the late game. As the game got later, Vega just got more and more powerful till they eventually just blew them off the map at a complete 5-man wipe that eventually gave the prompt for the GG. And this time, once again, as he's trying to chase Solo around, he has 22 XP picked up as of right now.
He's
now we're
not
gonna have
finding creeps he wants.
Initiation on the FN. Yeah, looks like Mana Shield will keep him alive. They're going to turn and go to work on Sioma. There's no way to follow that up. His mana pool quite low. Does have the Mango. Now they're going to actually get the 2-man stun off, but doesn't matter, though. Everyone will make it away, though, a little worse for wear.
Fear just waited until 1 minute 54 to use his first Devour. He could have used 2 Devours if he'd used it as soon as neutral creeps came up.
Oh, so PPD has to grave himself. Solo is rotated over there with the creeps and bought some time, but Vega draw first blood for the second game in a row. Off to a great start as they look to close this series out 2-0.
Absolutely, and EG just, they have a kind of clear change in game plan with running this dual lane up top, but the Enchantress able to go to a good start. Fear loses tabs of where she is, and then heads back to his own jungle, doesn't find any creep he's happy with, ends up just settling for a Wild Wing. That's not what he was hoping for, because he walked past a Wild Wing camp, I believe, previous to that, and was really hoping either for a C-tier camp or the Mud Golem camp, I believe, probably the 2 best that you can get at the start, and as a result, early game not looking good for EG.
Well, Fear, if nothing else, he may not be gaining a lot of experience, but he is strutting around boldly. He just wandered through mid lane and like right by no one as if it didn't matter, as if he wasn't in any danger whatsoever. He's continuing to just parade himself around, but still failing to get a whole hell of a lot accomplished. Speaking of getting things accomplished, checking back in on Mag's Void, he is doing quite well in this lane as anticipated. The Darkseer certainly not struggling either at 13 CS, but the fact that Mag sitting at 15, just shy of Sumail's Wind Ranger, tells you this is going to be another game where Void's going to be a major factor, and he's not just going to be a factor, he's going to be a factor very early.
Sumail's Wind Ranger, though, having a great time against no one on the Queen of Pain with a big CS advantage, going for this double null talisman build.
Reality Rift. I thought they might try to turn it. Seoma wasn't there to do it. Sorry about that, didn't mean to interrupt you. He actually Reality Rifted through the trees and tried to engage on FM, but there was no follow-up on either side.
So for both teams here in the early game, it's going to be Vega probably continuing to try to use this Enchantress to roam around. There's Boots as well as another smoke for solo available, so very likely he picks up another creep and then goes for his next smoke rotation.
Fear guarding the illusion rune. And looks like no one is going to be able to snatch up the bounty rune at bottom. Now up top, they do engage FN for real this time. AUI slowed down by Seoma the Slayer, throwing out the Fortune's in, but no way to follow it up. Mana Shield just doing so much work and keeping him alive.
Yeah, this is one of the nice things about having that safe lane Juicer. Very hard to kill. The survivability just with 1 point in the Mana Shield only. Not something that EG can kill with just this dual lane of theirs. And here, with Tranquil Boots up, may look to get involved up here. No points in Scorched Earth just yet, but does have some ways to get active and involved just with the Infernal Blade.
Up, they're going to try to follow it up. There's the Chaos Bolt to follow. Yep, and Fear going right on up. Using the Infernal Blade. Nope. Backing off. And Hero's just so tanky under towers in this new patch, my friend.
Yeah, even just the tier 1 with the +1 armor helping out a lot. And EG trying to get aggressive and apply pressure early, but so far not working for them. Man, Mag is just continuing to farm huge amounts. He's sitting on 29 CS. He's the highest CS in the game. He's in a 1v1, but even so, Darkseer typically known for being good in these 1v1s against melee heroes, but Mag has not struggled at all.
No. And, you know, what's interesting about this is he's already level 6.5, so, you know, knowing that, seeing he's 6.5, it makes it very hard for EG to commit to anything even near a tower. If they're not careful, they can wind up being on the bad end of a multi-man sphere, and there were many of those in game 1. They're going to try to go on no one. There's going to be the Shackled. Doesn't have to accomplish much as the net used by the Doom enough to secure the kill. EG makes it onto the board.
Yeah, nice kill. Not an easy one to get, but they had the right creep on the Doom. They managed to chain stun the Quap to prevent Blink escape, so nicely done. A bit of an unconventional move from EG, a 3-man smoke from top lane towards mid. I thought perhaps Vega would kind of sniff it out and realize what's going on. They even had a lane ward at top, which would have spotted that EG did not have any heroes in the top lane. But I imagine for the Queen of Pain there, you're like, well, I'm probably getting, there's a good chance I'm getting ganked, but I've got this Blink to escape. Just not taking into account the Doom and Snare. Because if not for Ensnare, they can't get that kill.
I'm beginning to really worry about Fear. Just level 3.5. He has every bit of 2 CS right now, my friend.
Mid lane, they're jumping on Sumail.
See if they can follow it up. No one taking tower shots. He just wants to go with it. He throws the shackles and enough. No, the bottle charges. He does manage to get a 1-for-1. Unfortunately for him, he was dead.
Bulba. He's being gone on. He's very tanky though.
Makes it. Yeah, he should be fine. He's going to have Surge in a moment. He's got PPD there just in case.
Mag was hoping for a bit better RNG with the level 4 time lock, I imagine. I didn't see any bashes inside the Chronosphere.
Yep. Top. AUI, very low. There's a rotation coming. Seoma doing what damage he can. Not going to be enough. AUI does manage to make it under his own tower. Seoma thought about diving, thought better of it.
Yeah, very close to getting one more Purifying Flames would have got that kill. And they get smoked up solo to head towards that lane, but now with no hero, okay, I say no hero, Doom's TPing in already, so there's still that potential for that rotation in. Fear could be in a lot of trouble up here.
Right now, Fear just happy to soak up some XP. And yep, here we go. They're going to dive him. And there's nothing that can be done about this. He's so underleveled. And that's just a free one. Solo tanking the tower shots, using the Nature's Attendants to soak the damage. And things are just looking really, really solid for Vega right now. I mean, the concern is always with the Medusa pick, can you get her online and make her effective early enough to really be relevant? Hang on, there's going to be an engagement on the mag. Oh yeah, got him easy. That was actually just basically a rush out of the darkness and curb stomp someone, kind of a gank. So EG draws it back to even on the kill board, 3-3.
But that's like a trade for the tier 1 top tower. So EG's like, they see what's happening top, they're like, let's make a move on bottom. But a kill in the void, very good considering he's the highest CS in the game, but the tier 1 tower for Vega at least kind of neutralizes EG's pick off. And I think the big concern for EG is just that Vega, their farm distribution right now is really good. There's 4 heroes with greater than 25 CS.
Yep.
And for EG, the Chaos Knight, they're kind of one position for AUI, not farming well at all. He's sitting on just 22 CS right now.
And again, 8 CS on the Doom. I mean, at this point, he's basically the 4 position. And that's okay, I guess. I mean, it's tough. It's problematic in a lot of ways. I mean, PPD, of course, will be playing the straight up 5. But for the most part, you know, for your Doom's an excellent spell. He's going to have it shortly level 6, but the slower he gets to level 11. And, you know, usually a Doom wants to be a hero that if he's not, you know, playing as a pseudo core, at least he's usually building some items to take some pressure off of your other heroes. Building mech, you know, building Vlads, etc. He's just nowhere near even beginning to think of those items.
Well, we'll see what the next move's going to be. This Medusa pick is just going to really negate what AUI can do as well. Having that ultimate to just instantly destroy this Chaos Knight illusions means he has to be very careful about how he uses the Phantasm in these late game fights. Sumail misses a shackle in mid. Did have PPD nearby, although I'm not sure they would have been able to get a kill off of that.
Well, EG, if nothing else, moving fairly well. But you can see, I mean, they're playing ultra defensive. Really not wanting to overcommit to anything. Sumail will finish his phase boot, so his damage output should make ganks here in mid a little bit easier. But yeah, I mean, there's going to be a smoke now out of Sioma. And Solo, looks like they want to hook up with Mag. Mag, level 8, almost level 9. Has Chronosphere at the ready. And almost has...
Oh, shackle in mid.
Yep.
No one's been caught, doomed up, and taken out. Nice initiation coming out from Sumail.
Yep, now there's going to be a Spirit bottom. Solo outside of it. And 1 Purifying Flames.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of damage up with the Throne of Cronus here with Impetus as well as Purifying Flame.
Yep. Oh, Vega continuing to go blow for blow. Being able to bring down the Queen, pretty big deal. As she's struggling, that's probably the weakest link you can see that's obvious whenever you look at what's going on with Vega. Is the Quap just hasn't had the start you usually want on a Queen, but she can make that up in one good team fight.
Yeah, I don't think no one is one of those players for Vega who they always want to have him doing well. But from a pure strategic point of view, it's not, the Quap is not like the linchpin of their strategy. Quap has levels at least, will be able to dish out a lot of damage in a team fight just through the Sonic Wave Scream of Pain. So it's much better that, to me, that Void and Medusa are not going down and both those 2 cores are getting farmed. Then no one dying a few times, not the biggest issue.
Well, taking a look at the CS, Medusa is number 1 now, has surpassed Mag. The fact that those 2 are on top is surprising and a little worrying if you're EG. And pretty much every way, Sumail at 57 CS, even though the lane went comparatively well, we can see, you know, no one's caught up pretty well. He's already to 45 CS himself, while AUI still struggling to crack 40.
He picks up a Midas, I think, recognizing the situation that he's not farming all too well. He's not going to be able to necessarily, his team's just not in a position where they can just take fights, take objectives, so wanting to kind of play for a more later game stage here with this Midas pickup.
Now that Mag's got the Vlads, if they spot the Midas, I'm not sure if they have or not, but if they do, actually they should have. They have a ward that I'm pretty sure may have caught a glimpse of AUI as he was running by. If they see that Midas and now they have the Vlads, is it just go time? Is it just time to just start running at towers and dare them to fight you?
They don't have the best pushing lineup, so I think they're more looking to find pickoffs and go for smoke rotations. The Chronosphere with what we saw like the 2 supports earlier trying to find kills, so less like let's just force tower pushes, but more, hey, let's take fights. This Chaos Knight is not in a great position to take any kind of a team fight. He's just going to be off alone farming all the time. Either go and get AUI or go and fight the rest of his team.
Right now, they're continuing to bounce around a bit. Solo and Mag are going to be down here in bottom lane. Fear and Bulba have hooked up. Bulba going for the mech. Not super far away. Fear, again, just going to get a buckler, actually.
Yeah, this is I guess the casual buckler on Doom doesn't even typically get upgraded into a mech or anything. The armors you get a lot of benefit from, and the active as well. Very nice for team fighting with. And EG want to try and fight this bottom lane. They need to get the Doom up on the Void, I feel, if they want to stand a chance in this fight, and they do so.
All right, let's see if they can follow it up. There's going to be a two-man weave. Fear just rushing in, using Scorched Earth. The damage not really there. PPD's going to show up. They will manage to corral Sioma the Slayer in a
They can
corner.
re-engage them when the Doom wears off. Looks like that's the plan. EG have to be very careful.
They know it. There's going to be the Sphere. Catches Sumail. That got Bulb at the edge as well. And the Sonic Wave. Unbelievably well placed by No One. If he was more than, I don't know, if he was more than 10 units outside of that Sphere when he blinked in for the Sonic Wave, I'll be shocked. And AUI, all he can do is try to farm, but even with Phantasm, it just doesn't matter. He's going to engage on the mag, but he can't really get a lot done on this tower.
Well, it's exactly what you suggested, where they see the Midas and then they want to go and take a fight. They go bottom, even with the only way EG can initiate and take that fight is Doom on the Void. But the problem is, while the Void is Doomed, you can kill a support, but you're not actually going to kill the Void himself. The Oracle makes sure that the Void stays alive, and from there, once they just have to wait out the Doom cooldown or the Doom to wear off, and then the fight goes Vega's way.
Well, where's the damage in a situation like that? I mean, when you look and your CK's not there, you have nothing from him. Bulba, level 9, he does have Vacuum Wall, but ultimately they never grouped up enough to make that relevant. None of the core items are up on the Wind Ranger. She's lacking a Maelstrom, lacking a Scepter, which, I mean, at 14 minutes is not that shocking. But, you know, you're going to try to take a fight, you get the Doom off, but all they have to do is run away. And then if you don't run away when they run away, they can do what they just did. Now Mag dodging a couple of reality rifts, and it looks like EG wants to make him in the tier 1 top the target.
But here come Vega, they're wrapping around looking to flank EG in the top lane. Still no Doom available.
Yep. Yo, AUI caught from behind. Fortune's in. There's going to be a grave to keep him alive for a little while. He's going to try to TP away in the middle of it. Sioma the Slayer and Solo were caught by an excellently placed Shackle shot, but he's able to get off his own false promise. PPD trying to hang back. He will end up dying. Fear has to go for a run. And they did catch Mag with another Shackle. Double kill for Sumail. But Vega now pouring the damage back out. Beautiful Vacuum Wall. And that's going to give them a chance to reinitiate. FN pops the ulti, though. Fear got caught under the tower. Power shot was on point. Fear manages to make it away. If he and FN together have 100 HP, I'll eat your immaculately tailored suit, my friend.
Medusa somehow surviving that power shot, clipping her, and 20-ish HP. EG, it looked like the fight to help turn things back in their way, but they just don't get the key kills.
I mean, Sumail was doing work. He's the one person. I mean, his damage output not where they'd want it to be, but it's better than they were getting from anything else. They managed to get the Chaos Knight away, which is a huge deal in and of itself. He's closer to his armlet, so EG, even though it didn't go quite as well as it possibly could have, they still, you know, it's not only a win, it's a very significant one. It puts them back on pace.
And just having that bit of, like, a confidence boost more than anything. Unfortunately for them, AUI, the carry, did go down, trying to TP away while great, but gets bashed up, so AUI still struggling in terms of his item progression, but Sumail picks up a Blink Dagger after that, has a double damage rune, so EG could even look to take another fight fairly soon if they want to. Fear has got Doom available once again, so they're going to need to be a little bit careful about how they approach these next couple of fights. They've got the most farmed hero in the game in the Medusa by a big margin, but it's still a hero that is not quite in fighting shape just yet.
She's moving along, though. I mean, her item development is actually pretty sick.
Looks like we'll see Lincolns. Normally you see the Yasha and Tascadi, but it seems favoring the Lincolns against the Shackle Shot and probably more importantly the Doom. Although I don't think Medusa is really a high priority Doom target, but there's a lot of just single target spells you can block. The Chaos Bolt, the Shackles, so
big smoke from EG.
Nice pickup.
They can find the Medusa in particular. It'd be a great pick. They're right in the vicinity. Looks like instead they're going to double back. Now they will go ahead and charge up the ramp. AUI will get eyes on Medusa. FN's in trouble.
He got the ulti off.
Got the ulti off. Button was also doomed right afterwards. Let's see if Vega's going to collapse. They're in range. And they're just going to be happy to protect her. Very quick reactions out of FN. The Doom coming out just a few milliseconds too late.
Yeah, they needed either the instant Doom or a stun before that ultimate, but once that Stone Gaze comes off, EG's ability to kill Medusa taken away, and that's a big investment when they go for that smoke play there, and Vega, dodge a bullet.
Good news is EG's damage output about to go up as the Chaos Knight has finished his armlet's on the way to him right now. And the Midas, if they can make it through, what, 25 minutes? If they can make it to 25, 30 minutes without having given up a big lead to Vega, that Midas will be so worth it.
It'll definitely pay off, but it's still this concern where paying off, what does that mean for a hero like Chaos Knight when you're reversing a Medusa? This matchup is just so Medusa favored because of the Stone Gaze. So all FN has to do is, the problem, I guess for EG, their approach is try and force the Stone Gaze at the start of a fight. But here come EG looking to contest Roshan, and Vega have good sustain with the Vlads, but
Mag's hanging out in the pit, hoping they'll group up. Power shot, didn't do any damage, gave some vision. And Vega's playing this very cautiously and very patiently, as is EG. Not overcommitting, not wanting to put themselves in a bad position. Ate a power shot that time and forces Mag to jump up to the high ground. He's actually trapped right now, and they're beginning to realize that.
They know, but there's not much they can do. If anything, Void's happy to be up here with the high ground mission.
AUI in trouble, and beautiful Sonic Wave. The Chronosphere once again on point. And Fear caught with the Stone Gaze. Bulba's going to be helped out by the Shallow Grave. EG's doing good damage. They've lost 2, but can they turn it? Solo. Impetus damage is so good. Fear will end up dropping. Mag was there to finish as well if it wasn't to be. 3-0. And Roshan gonna make it 3 plus a big dude and an Aegis. And EG, that was so well played by them. We didn't see them jump the gun, which was ultimately their downfall in the last fight of game 1. But when it came time, Vega's coordination is so good. That was one of those things you just want to watch in slow-mo, gods, where the Sonic Wave was unleashed just milliseconds before the Chronosphere was thrown, just knowing, okay, we're going right here, and both on the same page, and it worked out well.
And they burst down that first target before PPD could even get a grave off, so they start the fight off with a bang, and from there, it's just all downhill for EG. Once AUI said he didn't even have ultimate, which is, for EG, it's like, okay, they're Roshi, we want to contest this, but they had no Doom, no Phantasm as well, which made it very difficult for them to take the fight in. Void is just so strong and hard to kill with this max level time walk. EG, unless they hit like a Dream Shackle out of Sumail, aren't going to be able to kill the Void before he gets off a Chronosphere. Like, the Doom can't expect to just be able to walk in and Doom the Void.
I don't think there's any doubt about it. EG's on the clock now. Blink Dagger up for Mag, meaning he doesn't even have to use Time Walk to initiate anymore. And more importantly, the Lincoln Sphere now up on FN. This is where the Medusa just begins to feel like she can't be killed and is going to start looking towards big items, your Scotties and so on and so on. And the Void as well, now with his mobility up, with his survivability up, with the Vlads and the Treads, he's going to be eyeing, most likely, one would imagine, the Manta Diffusal build, so their damage is only going to go up from here.
And Medusa just keeps pulling further and further ahead in terms of farm and net worth, and EG, it's like they don't have that carry who's going to match up to FN on the Medusa. He's getting involved in the fights as well. That's why I've been most impressed by FN in this game on Medusa. Typically here you kind of think, oh, you just kind of sit back and farm while your team creates space and you play full protect 1. No, FN's saying, screw that, I'm tanky. I can just be in the front lines and soak up a lot of damage and offer my team a decent amount. The Stone Gazes have been on point, so EG have really struggled to bypass that tanky Medusa.
How scary is it if you're EG looking at a Medusa who's this far ahead with an Aegis? Because, I mean, maybe you kill her once. Maybe, you know, I don't even know if she's the primary Doom target. It seems to me it would have to be Void. But, you know, how do you kill her without the Doom? Do you have enough damage whenever you know your Phantasm is going to be completely nullified if you don't blow her up and she gets Stone Gaze off?
You have to kill other heroes first.
Right, but that's the thing, is like, how do you even go up, like, in your mind, what's the priority there?
Priority is, if you can get the Void before he gets a Chronosphere off, he's the Doom target. But that, to me, is very unlikely because of the Blink and the Time Walk, so I think the priority for EG is smoking and trying to flank Vega when they go for a push, because you can see how Vega position right now. They've got the Medusa on the front lines, recognizing that there's no way EG are going to engage and throw spells on the Medusa, who has Mana Shield, Aegis, 1300 HP. It's just not feasible. So for Vega, it's all about keeping their backlines protected and safe. For EG, it's somehow finding a way to catch onto them, and Sumail's Blink Dagger has to be the key way that they do that.
EG being proactive and trying to find a way back into being relevant. They're about 7,500 gold down, even more experience, but they're out in the enemy jungle. They had to seed the tier 2, but perhaps hoping they can get a pick. FN out by himself, but I mean, like you said, he's just so tanky, and now the Manta's already done.
Yeah.
12,000 net worth right now on that Medusa, almost a full 5K ahead of both Sumail and AUI.
AUI, even with a Midas, isn't catching up anytime soon. Yeah, you can Midas creeps, but you cannot flash farm as a Chaos Knight. Medusa, you've got split shot, you can stack Ancients. Vega also just getting objectives and towers to boost their economy even further, so for EG it's all about fighting that big wombo combo teamfight, which now gets a little bit easier with the Darkseid Blink, but they still don't want to teamfight in this Aegis. I think they're going to wait out the Aegis and then try and take a big teamfight. Perhaps around the Blink Dagger as well, Sumail's Aghanim's timing.
I didn't see the Aegis time. About how long is left on this?
About a minute? Yeah, 1 minute right now.
It's going to end up costing them 2 towers, though, in the meantime. Even if that's all they lose, it's still way more than they can afford to lose at this stage. Spear's trying to split push a little bit at top, but they're going to be able to defend this at top if they really want to. They still have a glyph.
This dupe pick just hasn't worked. 2 games in a row for EG.
The way they're playing it, I mean, it's easy to understand trying to counterpick the Enchantress, but you can't have Fear at level 10 at this stage of the game. I mean, the Oracle, and the Dazzle are all the same level. Like, it's so tough whenever he's not just under-leveled, he's broke.
I'm sure a lot of the other teams are going to be sitting back watching this, like, because Fear's Doom had been, like, first banned against EG every single game yesterday, and the teams watching this are like, man, what were we doing? We should just be looking to beat and punish the Doom like Vega's doing, because Vega finding great ways to play around the Doom so far.
I mean, real talk though, is it the way EG has chosen to play the Doom that is problematic, or has Vega done so much that they have punished you? Because, you know, to me, it just seems like the way they've chosen to play the early stage with the Doom, like you said, it was like, what, a minute and a half before he actually devoured a creep? Like, that's more of an EG decision-making process problem than it is anything Vega's done.
Yeah, Fear took a he played very, like, high risk with his early game play, looking to try and chase the Enchantress. As soon as you lose the Enchantress and she got away from Fear, she finds a creep, she ganks top lane, gets a kill, and Fear, meanwhile, hasn't used Devour once. So he played it in a very risky fashion, and that's something that you take a gamble. If it works, it pays off heavily, but if it doesn't, you fall behind tremendously. And I think against a team like Vega, who play this more slow-paced, farm-centric Dota, you need to match that. You need to look to prioritize your own farm to some extent as well, which Fear just hasn't done.
Well, EG trying to get him caught up as they're letting Fear, Sumail, PPD take this stack.
No, this Deuce is going to have like a Scotty in the next 5 minutes.
Massive, man.
It keeps getting worse and worse. Chaos Knight's got a Reaver, so just straight into the heart of Tarrasque, it looks like. Combos very well with the armlet because you get the HP regen to go with the HP loss that you get out of the armlet. But even so, the Chaos Knight, it feels like you almost have to be a split-pushing Rat Dota Chaos Knight when you're playing against Medusa.
The Medusa pick really is just really wonderful drafting for Vega. And it's, you know, last pick Medusa, of course, you know, that way you can't see anything wonky like an anti-mage pick to try to counter it. And just how well it works against the CK really being put on display here. And it feels like EG has to do something. I mean, you don't want to get out and just do something out of panic, but you're just falling further and further behind. And Medusa is not, she's going to be, as of right now, she hasn't been as big a problem. But, you know, once Scotty's out, once she's got her Manta, which she already does, and her Lincolns, what in the world are you going to do to even attempt to bring her down?
I do not have an answer to that question. It's going to get even worse than that, because Vega are going to have an Aegis on their side. You're looking at Enchantress transitioning into core. And this is what we saw last game, where Vega, they have 4 farmed heroes going into the mid game. Solo, he gets the early pickoffs, but then he also goes back and makes sure he gets some farm so he can get up this Drums, Dragonlance into Aghanim Scepter build that he loves to go for. And as a result, on the side of EG, some of your 3 cores are sometimes equal or less farm than the Enchantress. Right now, Bulb is just slightly ahead of the Enchantress.
Yep. Doom slightly behind. Everyone kind of playing it out quiet for now. We did see the halberd picked up by Doom, and could be a very important item. I mean,
it's not bad. You just pop it on the Medusa. So, as you engage, you want to approach the fight where ignore the Medusa, kill everyone else. And Medusa is a lot easier to ignore if she can't attack. So, the approach for EG is halberd the Medusa. She doesn't have BKB to get rid of it, and then kill everyone else if possible, which is easier said than done.
Yeah, I was gonna say the scenario. I mean, I can see a scenario where basically Vega stick the Medusa out front and say, "Come at me. They try to bait the Doom or bait the Halberd, and then the Void just Chronospheres, and you still have a tremendous amount of damage output from the Void as he's now beginning to itemize like a carry again as Yash is done. He's got 1,000 gold elsewise. And then, of course, the Enchantress, who is on her way to a Scepter, has her drums, and has her Dragonlance. So it's a puzzle that I think is problematic for EG to put together correctly.
Yeah, Sumail has to just play these team fights immaculately well. He's got to hit shackle shots all over the place. He's got to burst down heroes before they get off spells. If he can find someone like a Void with a shackle, burst him down, or the Quap, someone on Vega has to die without using all their spells. In any scenario where Vega even just execute to like a decent level, like with every hero throwing their spells out, hitting at least like to maybe like 60-70% capabilities, Vega's going to win those fights. So
I think if they get an Aegis here, the game is 1 or 2 fights away from being just done.
Yeah.
Like, this next Roche fight is just going to be tremendously important. They do get a hard up on AUI. And there's going to be a shackle. Can they bring down no one? TP's coming in. Doom on him to secure the kill. But, Mag is there. The damage is there. And they're going to be able to trade Fear away easily. That's all they get. And I actually think EG is going to be pretty happy with that. The fact that they trade a very low-tier priority Doom in this game away from your Queen of Pain.
Yeah, it's not a bad trade. Chronosphere used as well, but it doesn't like progress you forward as EG is my main kind of concern with that. It's like, yeah, that's a good trade by itself, but big picture-wise, it's not a team fight. It's not really like Vega set back at all. Vega is still on track to get Medusa's farm. Like we've got the Skadi. It's a Queen of Pain who was already not in the best position, not the most farm core in the game, going down. So it doesn't solve any of EG's problems.
Exactly.
It maybe delays Vega's timings by a minute or two.
Yeah, I mean it's tough. It's tough. I mean you're in a situation where you naturally just want to buy time and try to grind your way back in, but it's just not working. I mean, the kill did buy them back a little bit of their net worth loss, but this Aegis, this Roche fight, really where it's going to be. And this is one big advantage they do have there is they did elicit the Chronosphere, so Mag's not going to have that on the ready for 40 seconds for this Roche fight.
Smoke popped on AUI though, so they now know that it's not just Sumail here on the win range, and that there's backup.
Weave out on AUI. Fear's going to go in. He doesn't have Doom either though. AUI checking to see the pit is cleared.
The Chrono up in just 20 seconds, so Vega probably just gonna like position on the high ground, stall this fight out until they have Chrono, and then engage. They smoke up now. It's almost a preemptive smoke, preparing for that Chrono cooldown with 12 seconds to go. So by the time EG likely latch on, they'll have the Chrono back up.
Up there's Fear. Spots it out. Has to use the Scorched Earth. Mag playing very far back. Chrono ready right now. Fear's got 15 seconds till Doom is ready. If he wants to go, now'd be the time. They're just going to kill Fear just for free, it looks like. Sumail, in the meantime, finds himself a kill. But Fear hit with the Grave. There's going to be the Chronosphere, and AUI is caught in the middle of it. Sonic Wave is there, but AUI very tanky. They're going to manage to bring down Bulba, but not before he does a fair amount of damage. Sumail still pecking away. AUI trying to slug it out with FN, just not going to work. They just don't have the damage output in Sumail, even though he did manage to find a kill on his own on the Enchantress. All he can do now is just hightail it and hope Mag doesn't get a bash. So far, so good.
Solo was kind of just in no man's land, going into the enemy jungle by himself to scout a bit, get some information for his team, and got caught out. Similar, it was kind of both teams ended up in the same position where Solo found the enemy heroes by himself. Fear on the Doom did the same, and Vega just kind of flexing their muscles, showing that they are the superior team fight. They have the more farm on their cores, and they'll be rewarded with an Aegis on FN's Medusa.
We saw right there, man, just how tanky FN is. And Sumail, I mean, he can do some damage, but even so, he still only has a Scepter. I mean, he could go buy a Maelstrom right now pretty much if he wants. He's actually going to get a Diffusal instead. So, I mean, his damage output is beginning to come up. But, I mean, the Diffusal, of course, the natural pickup against the Medusa, trying to burn down her mana shield. But, I mean, she's just so tremendously far ahead. Now even has picked up a Talisman of Evasion.
That's a really useful item against the Diffusal Wind Ranger. The Diffusal got changed in the recent patch and is really good on the Wind Ranger with Focus Fire. You burn mana very quickly, but you have an Aegis, you have a Talisman. This is going to be at least a pseudo answer to Sumail. He'll be forced probably to go straight into an MKB now if they want to stand a chance to fight into this Medusa, but there's no time for that. We're talking about items that are 5 to 10 minutes away. For Vega, it's all about what items you have now because they're ready to breach high ground.
Yep. Lincolns will be popped. And trying to do what they can. Chaos Bolt, I mean, the Dan, he's just so tanky. AUI goes in. They're trying to bait out some kind of commitment from Vega, but Vega playing it very close to the bone. Not giving up too much. In fact, the Chronosphere just coming off a cooldown in the last few seconds. Phantasm will be up in 20 seconds. Doom is up now. Of course, Vacuum Wall at the ready. Lincoln's popped again. 3-second Chaos Bolt stun. Doing what damage they can. Shackle's going to be there. Let's see if they want to commit. They're slow to go in. There's going to be the Chrono.
Nice.
And look at AUI just melt. Beautiful Vacuum Walls. They're going to be enough for EG to turn it. Sonic Wave thrown uphill does good damage. Now they're going to reset on the low ground. AUI trying to chase down FN. That's going to be the Aegis. Now Vega ready to reset.
EG just disengage. You've won the fight. You killed Zero, but you won the fight. You've held your high ground. You took out the Aegis, regroup a little bit, and Vega will be forced back. Great blink reaction from Sumail. Manages to dodge the Chronosphere, and as a result, the sustain from the Dazzle with the heal from the Shadow Wave as well as the bonus armor from Weave keeps AUI alive in the Chronosphere. Not to mention he's got a Heart of Trash, so he's just body tanky by himself.
Hero of that fight's Bulba.
Yeah.
That fight, they
absolutely.
weren't going to have any damage. They weren't going to have anything they needed to actually save the CK, to actually hold high ground if that Chrono wore off and AUI was dead inside of it. But he blinks over the sphere, hits a 4-man Vacuum Wall, and it was just, I mean, unbelievably well done. And that completely turned that fight and allowed them to reset. So for now, they're still in a hole, but they're at least starting to see a little daylight creeping down into the depths.
Yep. The big concern is, like, what do you what's the end game for EG? Like, is Chaos Knight going to be able to carry the late game? And to me, the quick answer to that is certainly no. But there is some hope for, like, a late game Wind Ranger as kind of, I say main carry, not necessarily to be like more like to outfarm the CK, but at least to have a good matchup against the Medusa. If you manage to get to like an MKB data list, Medusa will be able to get bursted down very quickly by a Wind Ranger. So Sumail has to be the late game DPS for EG, but he's also going to quickly just become the main priority, the main target for Vega at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, the Chaos Knight and the Wind Ranger, Sumail and AUI, roughly the equivalent farm. So they're basically both 1 positions or 1.5, if you want to call it that.
And you've got a 4.5 second disarm in the Oracle to help deal with the Wind Ranger as well, which makes Sumail's life very difficult. He doesn't really talked about the Oracle much. Like, expand on that even more so. So the Oracle is it's the Dazzle of Vega's lineup, where you try and engage and kill one hero at the start of the fight. We talk about EG, when they initiate, they want to burst one down quickly with like a blink shackle, but Oracle prevents that. You should get shackled. There's false promise to get rid of the shackle, keep you alive, and make sure that whichever hero it is stays in fighting shape. Even the doomed hero can be kept alive through the heals. So the Oracle functions as a very great kind of just defensive support, similar fashion to what the Dazzle brings to the table. And then you've got other utility coming out from spells like Fate's Edict, the disarm on a hero like Wind Ranger who doesn't want to build BKB. There's not much worth building. The only thing worth building BKB against is that disarm. If there's like lions and other stuns and stuff, you're like, well, I'll build a BKB anyways. But this game, you're just like, I don't want to build BKB, but the disarm could prove to be Sumail's downfall.
Both teams beginning to group a bit more. Don't see EG move out much more, with groups much smaller than 4 at this point. It's either 4 and then 1's farming elsewhere, or all 5. Vega benefiting from being able to spread the map, having a little bit more confidence with their lead, and with EG not feeling like they can come out without risking major deaths. And we're now looking towards true late game items, and yep, this is a butterfly done. That is a butterfly done on FN.
Oh boy.
And MKB not even remotely in range for Sumail at this point. He's got 686 gold.
He bought the Demon Edge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he saw him with 3k, so I'm like, okay, it's not terrible. So needs another 2k gold. So he's actually at least heading that direction. Should have a it's really habit before the next Aegis push coming out from Vega. I say that as if Vega's guaranteed to take Roshan, which isn't set in stone, but worst case scenario, Vega just get a quick Roche respawn. They manage to take Roche when EG's out of position, and then the push is coming. So Sumail just needs to work on making sure he has that MKB before that next push comes.
Fear finishing up the Crimson Guard. Great item for them to have right now. And, yep, Vega scouted out. He's going to have to time walk back to safety. They get the tier 2 Chaos Bolt thrown. Do they want to commit here? Looks like they're thinking about it. Fear's rushing in. He's got the Halberd, he's got the Doom. He's going to get it off of Solo. Solo, that's one-man Chronosphere. They're going to make it count. Can they get Fear? He's already used his Fear, though, is the problem. And FN's just doing massive damage. Sonic Wave is on point. Sumail has to run. AUI rushes in. And he just doesn't have the damage. They just can't touch FN. Now he's got him isolated, but it's just too much. And he's going to be forced to run.
It's a butterfly.
Yeah, I mean, it's like at this point, they need MKBs. I don't know that they can fight without MKBs. Sumail was rushed out of that fight in a hurry. He could not stay without dying.
Yeah. So many things went right for EG in that fight is the crazy thing. Apart from the outcome, the Chronosphere only catching out on one.
The 3 heroes focused down the Doom we'd already did.
Yeah, the Medusa popped Stone Gaze at the start of the fight, which meant AUI at least got to use his Phantasm without worrying about the illusion being instantly taken away. But even so, the Chaos Knight with level 3 Phantasm cannot fight the Medusa's the split shot. Yep. The split shot at this stage is enough, even when you don't have Stone Gaze. With the Butterfly, FN is just a monster in these fights, and the item disparity between Medusa and Chaos Knight really showing in that scenario.
What's the next pickup you think for the Medusa?
There's merits in getting a Satanic or an MKB. MKB if you want to go damage, so you can fight the Wind Ranger and deal with the Wind Run. Or if you want to have more sustain, the Satanic's always very good. But we're talking about sustain, you've got Manta, Sky, like you've got 4 items which give you good survivability. Right, so exactly. I'd like to see FN go into some damage output. There's also, if you want to go all out, you go for like a Rapier Aegis in the late game setting, but I don't think Vegas needs to put themselves in a position where they could just lose the game off of buying a Rapier.
Totally agree with you. Just itemizing, I mean, imagine if he had more damage in that fight. I mean, we would have had multiple dead heroes for EG and probably racks down.
The one other, I wonder if there's any consideration towards a BKB. There's a lot of stuns. We saw like the previous Aegis push when they went mid. They just continuously spam Chaos Knight stuns on him, shackle shots. They weren't even trying to engage. They were just trying to constantly disable him. And then also the Heaven's Halberd from the Doom. So I think there's a lot of merit in getting a BKB. And the more I think about it, that's probably the direction I would lead if I was FN in this scenario.
For now, playing it safe. Looks like they want to wait out the Roshan. Big guy is back up. This time we'll have Cheese as well. And we'll see if EG is going to be able to contest it. They poke in, they see it's there, and they're ready to go to work.
Yeah, very fast Roche respawn. And we talked about will Sumail have MKB before the Aegis push comes. He's sitting on 2.2k gold, so 800 away. Should be able to farm this in time, and EG just don't have the map presence to contest Roche. They've got only defensive wards up on their side of the map. Vega seem a little unsure about where EG are right now, because they're not, like, EG is nowhere near them. They could go into Roche and just take it right now, but they want to wait till they see more EG heroes on the map.
Yep, only spotting AUIs. He farms. Looks like they're sufficiently convinced that EG is not anywhere in the vicinity. And this is going to be a very fast Roshan Shiva's guard. Oh, they're going to go ahead and smoke.
I think
they're
scared. They don't see EG. So vision-wise, they've got lots of wards up. They're expecting EG to be smoking and contesting Roche.
They're going to spot AUI in just a moment if he comes near this ridgeline.
EG have made it very clear they don't care about contesting Roche just yet.
This is a risky fight. They're just going to go and try to take it. Eyes on PPD. He's going to have to grave himself. Here comes the rest of EG from the north.
TP's away.
AUI, 3-second Chaos Bolt. Fear looking for a target. It's going to be a Chrono. That's going to be on AUI. Can they bring him down fast enough? Bulba's there. Sonic Wave on point. There's the Phantasm. AUI still taking a tremendous amount of damage. No one's the primary target for the moment. He's going to be helped up in the low ground. There was a Doom on Sayoma. Sayoma can't do anything about it. He ends up dropping to Sumail. That's 2-0 in favor of Evil Geniuses.
The armor toggles from AUI, keeping him alive, and he's just so tanky with this AC plus Heart of Taras. FN is full HP, full mana, but that's the game plan for EG. Ignore FN's Medusa, focus everyone else, and then as an afterthought, ask yourselves, can we now kill Medusa? If no, take towers, go back and farm. If yes, kill the Medusa and win the game. But for now, they're not able to kill FN, but they kill 2 other heroes. And for whatever reason, Vega, they took a big chance with that smoke, expecting to catch EG by surprise, but very easy to say in hindsight that they should have just finished off Roche.
That is, I think, a perfect example of a team outthinking themselves. They were in the lead, they had a great situation, and they talked themselves out of just taking the easy option, and it cost them dearly.
They cost them more here.
And now there's MKB up on Sumail. So now the damage on FN is going to be tremendous. If they can lock him down long enough to allow focus fire anyway.
So EG with Aegis and Cheese on their side. Suddenly things get interesting here in the late game, and Medusa's one of those heroes, you hit your timing like around the 30 to 40 minute stage of the game, but if your opponents have like good lockdown, you can deal with a Medusa once it gets to 50, 60 minutes, and EG have way more stuns and disables this game. Like, look at late game fights. Vega have one big ultimate in Chronosphere. Outside of Chrono, they've got no stuns whatsoever, and that's where Medusa really struggles. There's constant Chaos Knight bolts coming out, there's Shackle shots, there's Vacuum, there's Doom with the Infernal Blade, which isn't the longest stun, but it's at least something, and that's also percent-based damage to deal with a very tanky Medusa. So EG just have the more reliable way to kind of sustain themselves through a fight by just controlling the Medusa, who has picked up a Demon Edge, so it looks like he will be going the MKB route to help fight the Wind Ranger, but he's still going to struggle heavily to deal with these stuns. Very reliant on the Oracle with the False Promise to get him out of Shackle shots at this stage.
That's been multiple fights now that Mag has thrown single-man Chronospheres. He can't be doing that. Like, for all the reasons you just named, the fact that that is the one big area and fight management tool they have. And it's no coincidence that when he hits, you know, even just 2, but especially if he gets 3 men in a Chrono, they win every time. It's not even close. It took a miracle vacuum wall from Bulba to save losing Rax about 15, 20 minutes ago, and that was when he only got 1. So, I mean, like, if he's hitting at least 2-man Chronos, they're going to win these fights, especially if it includes at least 1 core. If they can get the Doom, and I want to talk about Doom, talking about how far he's been behind all game. He's still on the lower half of the net worth, but the fact is the game's now gone on long enough that he's been able to fill out his items with those utility items. So it doesn't matter.
Solo. Like last game we saw Enchantress be a late game carry while Fear was on like 8k net worth. Fear is already like 50% higher farm than he was last game, while Solo is actually struggling a bit now. So the one exception to the Chronosphere rule, I'd say, is if you can get the Chrono on Sumail. Less so now that he's got an age, but if you can kill Sumail, the fight is won for Vega. So perhaps the one target they need to try and find more using Mag's Blink Initiation, but we've seen Sumail already able to dodge it on numerous occasions, so have to be very careful about how and when you throw that ultimate.
EG rattling their blue saber outside of the tier 3 mid. Let's see if Vega's up to the task, if they can hold on their own, or if this is going to be a huge comeback moment for the Evil Geniuses. Well, 2 minutes to make use of that Aegis.
Yeah, they're going to try and force it. Glyph already being used, and Vega looking very hesitant here about how they want to take this fight. MKB is purchased, Medusa with no buyback.
Phantasm's going to be used. That's preemptive to the Medusa ult. To keep that in mind. Sonic Wave helping clear them out. They did decide to use the... FN going to be caught. There's a Lincoln's pop. Shackle, they're committing to this as much as they can. There's a Chrono. That's on AUI and Sumail. It's going to be AUI who's hit with the Grave, and Bulba back in with a fantastic counter initiation. Fear left out front following the Medusa ulting. EG and Vega still with all 5 men standing.
Fear still has Doom too, so Vega commit all their ultimates more or less, and EG could still march forward.
And there's going to be the commitment on the Solo coming back in. No one doing what damage you can. Sumail lining up Solo from a distance. Solo trying to return the damage. Sumail does have the Aegis though. He will lose it to a Sonic Wave, but AUI in the meantime helping clear out Rax. Sumail about to come back up. They're gonna want to grab him if they can. Gray back on the AUI to keep him alive. Sumail not so lucky. He's gonna die behind the fight. Doom now onto Mag. AUI caught out and slowed by the Scotty. Another good vacuum, but there's nothing to follow it. Fear left behind. He'll be the last casualty of Evil Geniuses. They did manage to get a Rax though in exchange for the Aegis, the Cheese, and 2 heroes. I'm pretty sure the Cheese was consumed there. It was. But now if you're Vega, How do you feel after that fight? I mean, you gave up your racks. That's rough, but now you don't have an Aegis and a Cheese to contend with. You actually held serve pretty well. Once again, the hero Bulba coming in and really blowing that fight open for EG.
Yeah, we're in the late game where losing one lane of racks is by no means like game losing or even particularly game changing because of the nature of Vega's draft, where they've got a Queen of Pain and Medusa, most importantly, who can easily push out these lanes, even Void very fast at this stage of the game. But it speaks more to just EG's momentum and what they can get done with an Aegis and a Cheese. So Vega reset things in that department and will be much more cautious about how they approach the next couple of fights, given that EG just got so much out of having an Aegis and Cheese, and that could just happen again. Another lane of racks, and then you do start to really worry if you're Vega.
Roche should be on a relatively short timer here. He'll be back up in about 3 minutes, maybe a little less now. And that could be ultimately a deciding factor in the outcome of this game. Relatively low kill count, actually not relatively low, it's actually a very low kill count, especially compared to most other series in this tournament. We got 28 kills in 48 minutes. EG, at one time trailing 12K in net worth, has drawn it down to 4K, which at this stage of the game, coming up on 50 minutes, really a negligible amount of gold to be trailing. And it just becomes so much about the choices you made with your items and whether or not you can execute.
Yeah, we talk about Sumail's itemization. He is going to go towards that data list, so his single target DPS is going to skyrocket once he completes that. And something where any shackled hero, if Oracle's not there to false promise them, will just get instantly blown up by a focus fire. And EG are just approaching these fights so incredibly well. It almost looks like Vega gets these great initiations, like EG hit a shackle shot, and then EG perhaps overcommit, lead into a great mad Chronos here, but every single fight we're seeing Bulba blink past the Chrono, catch the Medusa, and 2, 3, sometimes even 4 heroes on the backlines with that vacuum wall. Bulba's positioning has just been impeccable.
Positioning and patience. And it seems easy on paper to just be like, yeah, just wait for the Chrono, then do your thing. But, you know, in the middle of a fight, you don't know if the Chrono is going to come. You don't know if you're going to lose one of your cores. The temptation to just jump and go has got to be tremendous, and he has been able to hold on when it is counted. And it's really been the difference maker for the Evil Geniuses.
So from here on out, you mentioned the next Roche fight. That's going to be coming sometime in the next 1 to 4 minutes.
Yep.
Both teams will be eyeing that one off.
EG putting AUI out front, leading with the chin. Mag isn't there.
EG can be confident, just keep kind of chipping away at these towers. AUI in the front lane is incredibly tanky, and you nailed it when you said Void can't just be chronoing AUI anymore. That's just a recipe for disaster with how tanky he is. He's not even dying in these chronos, so AUI just armlet, right-clicks down the tier 2 tower, and we're starting to reach that point where with CK, it's not even about his illusion army, it's just about what the hero by itself can do as a carry.
Chaos Strike, you know, you forget just what it is, man. It's only a 10% crit chance, but the damage that comes out of it is so big. You can blow a hero, even a late game hero, off the map if you get a couple of good ones. And that's to say nothing of the illusions and the bonus damage in reality. Now they're going to go in. Looked like they wanted to go in. Instead, both teams decided to take a breather. 30 seconds till Roshan respawns.
Top lane is a big creep wave that needs to be dealt with, though, by EG. Oh, it doesn't have to be dealt with. It'll push itself out, but it does very much reveal that EG is sticking around this bottom lane if no one shows up to defend that. They're worried about a Roche respawn, though.
There we go. Link is going to be popped. In the meantime, Mag caught by Sumail. There's the Shackle and the Doom. Vacuum brings 2 back. Fear helped out, but left behind. Sonic Wave is there. Graves going to keep him alive. Well timed by PPD, just buying him time. Sumail trying to do what damage he can. There's going to be the catch on FN. That crit and all of that damage of Sumail pouring out. Is it enough?
It's more. No. He's going to die as soon as that false promise wears off. FN has no way out. He pops like a pinata. Solo next to fall. EG. What a team fight coming out from them.
4 for 2.
They just managed to catch the Void. Anytime Void doesn't get a Chronosphere off, they can get him with a Shackle or a Doom. That is not how Vega want to approach these fights. And Vega's lack of just control in general outside the Chronosphere, we talked about it earlier, it's non-existent. So you don't get Chrono off. What other stuns and lockdown do you have? Absolutely zilch.
Yep. I'm actually just kind of dumbfounded at the way EG has managed to turn this. I want to point out that, I mean, I'm not going to say it yet. We'll wait and see what happens. AUI, though, doing work on the racks. Buybacks.
They have to come.
Mag. I mean, AUI.
They're just faking it.
Yeah, I mean, like, there we go. Oh, he actually threw it uphill and did guess right. Now they're going to go back in. AUI is going to be killed off, but they get nothing else. They're unable to catch up with anyone. PPD forces to the high ground and will be able to TP away. So Mag got off the Chrono and did get 2, but ultimately decided to just kill the Chaos Knight. So they lose a tier 3. They do manage to keep both of the second set of racks standing, which arguably at this stage of the game is the most important set of racks. I mean, the first racks you don't want to lose, but if you do, it's not the biggest deal. But, oh, okay.
Yep.
Rapier on the field.
Needed. It was needed. Vega say, they just lack damage. You can see how tanky this Chaos Knight is. Medusa was just right-clicking away that entire fight for about 30 seconds straight, and Chaos Knight, I didn't even see his hit points drop. He was just full HP the entire fight while Medusa was attacking, so we'll see what Vega's move is with the Aegis. They can give it to FN if he drops his Boots of Travel, which is perhaps the best option just because you want to have Medusa on the front line sieging the enemy high ground, but Mag with an Aegis is also very important because that means he can guarantee getting off a Chronosphere, but there we go. FN drops Travels. He takes cheese. No, he takes Aegis. Okay, that makes more sense. Mag will take the cheese, but if he gets shackled or doomed, he won't get off the cheese. So he has to be very careful, even with this.
And Medusa already bought back as well, so it's not going to be a situation where they go to siege. Maybe she tries to buy back and bots in if they siege high ground. And if they're watching, they know that Rapier's on the field. Let's see if Vega's got it in them to close this out on the back of the Rapier Medusa. Or if EG can dig deep and take one more big team fight, I think one more will be just about enough.
For EG have all their buyback, so Chaos Knight, what's he just picked up? He's going to go into a Skadi. AUI doesn't buy it though, he wants to make sure he has buyback for this fight, so he's going to hold off for now. Both AUI and Sumail can complete their next big late game item in the Skadi and the Daedalus respectively, but showing respect to what is going to be a very difficult to defend high ground push.
AUI uses the reality rift, decides not to follow. Shackle, not going to latch. Lotus Orb was used preemptively.
So Demon Edge already purchased by Sumail, just needs the recipe, but again, just 70 gold surplus for his buyback. And Chaos Knight actually gonna commit, buys his Skadi, won't have buyback for this defense, but I think he's just so confident in his survivability that he's willing to risk it. All he has to do is get like 1 kill and he'll have money for a buyback here, so.
Here we go, another reality rift. AUI, caught from behind is gonna be the Shackle, set up on FN, can they turn it? Sumail doing decent damage, forced to disengage. The damage output from FN and Solo in particular just too much, just pecking away at these racks now. Another reality rift, are they gonna commit? 3-second Chaos Bolt. Shackle, not on point. FN, no, it was on point. He is out of mana, he's gonna end up losing that Aegis. And there's a Doom behind it. They do manage to find no one. Fear's going to end up giving up. No, he's actually going to Ghost Scepter away from it. Ulti used by FN to try to disengage.
They give FN the cheese, but instead they give him the Boots of Travel. They back off Vega decide. They've done enough for now, and less than they've done enough, more than they're scared of EG as AUI goes charging in.
Yep, they're going to try to fight this out. He goes right in. Solo's going to be blown off the map to get things started. There's going to be the Chrono. Sumail will be brought down. Now they're going to try to go to work on AUI. No one's still caught in sight. Bulba finds FN, vacuum wall. Sonic Wave on point. AUI, no mana. And it looks like Vega's actually reset. There's a buyback from Sumail. He's all in. Fear ends up being brought down. And Bulba's there, no one in trouble. Mag very low health. Sioma's there, and there's going to be, yes, the kill on Medusa. Rapier picked up by AUI. Gets off one right click. Now they're going to engage on the no one. He has to decommit. Mag using a Manta, doesn't matter. 3 down. Double kill for Sumail off his buyback. And the Medusa herself is down for another 2 minutes and 40 seconds.
That's where, if you're EG, that's why you hold on to that buyback. On your Wind Ranger, especially because of Sumail's squishiness. It was a great chrono from Mag. Medusa was caught just outside of it, able to attack into it, but unfortunately for Vega, they just ran out of damage output. They're going to lose no one now as well. Quark immediately fires back, but it's over.
Against all odds, when that stat I was going to drop earlier, by the way, it took EG every bit of 50 minutes or more to come back in net worth. They trailed in this game almost from the word go. It got down to a 10,000 gold deficit at its absolute worst moment, which was around 38 minutes in. But EG find a way to win. Excellent play from them, and guess what, boys and girls? We're going to a Game 3.